first experience was I was taking a nap, and I could hear, it sounded like somebody walking down the hall and stopping at the door frame, and I had this feeling that I was being watched.
He just slowly turned his head towards me, gave me that look that you knew, how dare you, and kind of like got up and just vanished into the air. And I'll never forget that.
I think with anybody, when you lose somebody that you love, you're always looking for that sign, that message, like send me something to let me know that you're okay or that you're still there.
Family traits. Sometimes you get height, sometimes you get dark hair. And there are those who believe that sometimes you get supernatural ability. Hello, I'm Lawrence Chow. Today on Ghostly Encounters, we'll look at how a family history of openness to the supernatural can make someone more receptive to the possibility of seeing ghosts. Belief in spiritual contact is common to any number of religions and cultures. These beliefs help many to find meaning in otherwise inexplicable situations. And families that embrace these beliefs often pass them on to the next generation. Jay Wheatley's spiritual beliefs comforted her when she moved into a haunted apartment. But more profoundly, her beliefs have helped her deal with the early loss of her mother.
I lost my mom in a car accident when I was 16. It was my request that we take some of the ashes and we put them at, in a burial plot so I could have some place to visit. I just really felt like I needed a place to go to talk to her. I know with my experience, I had this overwhelming, feeling that I didn't know if she was okay, and that was just consuming me. Is she okay? Is she in a safe place? Is she all right? And I didn't know that, and that scared me, that she wasn't taken care of or that she was alone. To me, the idea that you live on, or your spirit lives on, is just kind of, I guess, somewhat inherent with my upbringing. I'm half Scottish and I'm half Ojibwe. My Scottish side, I think, is very superstitious, and my Ojibwe side, it is a common belief that after we die, that a spirit horse comes to take us to bring us on our journey into the afterlife. I do believe that we are going on another journey and we're going somewhere else. We're not dying and just gone. My great-grandmother was a white witch. My father had told me stories about her when I was growing up. She had really great power, so when she would tell people not to go somewhere or not to do something, people wouldn't even question her because they believed that what she was saying would happen or would come true. Our community is on an island, and every so many years, it's not on a certain date and it doesn't happen all the time, but there's a light that goes across the island. And there are people on the island that believe that's my grandmother's spirit going across the island. In September of 2000, I moved into a house. It was actually an old house, 80 years old. I moved in with my boyfriend, and I started hearing noises. I'm a bit of a napper. I enjoy my afternoon naps when I can take them. And a couple times when I took naps, I felt like I was being watched. It sounded like there was somebody in the apartment. And then this feeling just started getting stronger and stronger. I'd be in my bed, I'd, either just be dozing off or actually asleep, and awake to the feeling like I'm being watched. And most often when you feel like you're being watched, you normally are being watched. It sounded like somebody walking down the hall and stopping at the door frame. There's a part of me that doesn't even want to look at the doorway because I'm afraid I'm going to see something at the doorway. You're in bed feeling like, oh my God, there's someone in the house with me. What do I do? Physically, there's nobody there. And I said to my boyfriend, I said, I don't know why. I said, but I think there's more than one ghost. It feels like there's two of them there, and I think there's a man and a woman. And the man's presence is very strong. It's like they're an older couple. I can't see them. I don't know what they're wearing, but there's a man and there's a woman behind him. I could hear them walk down the hall and stop at the bedroom. I almost felt paralyzed in bed because I wanted to get out of bed. I wanted to get out the room, but I thought if they're there and they're in the door frame, does that mean I'm going to walk through them? It must have happened, I don't know, 6, 8 times where like they were in the room with me. My mom is still here. My mom is still with me, I believe. Her spirit is strong. I definitely feel her spirit. And at one point, I actually, I called my mom. I don't know that she had any pull with the situation or she could have done anything, but eventually, what I did is I spoke with the ghosts and I told them who I was and that I was now living in this house and that I wasn't there to cause them any harm and that I would appreciate it if they would stop coming in the room because they were kind of scaring me. And after I had this talk with them, they stopped coming in the room. I could hear them in the hall, sometimes I could hear them in the living room, in the kitchen, very faintly, but they just kind of stopped. This apartment, I actually, I got through a friend of a friend. My friends, Sham and Zoe, told me that Annette had a place that she was leaving, and they asked me how the apartment was, and my friend Shama said to me, have you had any problems with ghosts? And my jaw just about hit the floor, and I'm like, did you just say ghost? As in plural, more than one ghost? And she said, yes. And I looked at my boyfriend and I smacked his arm. I'm like, you see, I told you there was ghosts there. And I said, how did you know? And why didn't you tell me? And she said that Annette had talked about the ghost many times. She's like complained about her ghost. With her experience, she actually woke up and saw them. She was asleep and I guess got the feeling like there's somebody in the room and just sat up and she saw a man and a woman. She screamed, and when she screamed, they just vanished. She actually wound up doing the same thing that I did, and that she finally talked to them and they went away. One time I was sleeping and I was in a dead sleep. All of a sudden I woke up, and when I woke up, I mean, it was very abruptly. I just bolted, sat right up, eyes wide open. I felt as though there was somebody at the side of my bed. When I woke up so quickly, it's almost as though I startled whomever was there, and they they got up and they went out the room. And my heart is just racing, thinking, did this really happen? Am I still sleeping? And like, what's going on? I look down the hallway, and it's a very long hallway, and it's like I could see almost a black haze that just scooted down the hall and into the kitchen. I think it might have been a friend of mine. Just days before, I'd found out that a friend of mine had passed away. And I was upset when I heard it, and I was just thinking about him, for, I guess, a couple days. I don't know, maybe he knew that I was thinking of him, or maybe he wanted to come and see me, or he was watching me, and I think he was quite